Explore with Dora. They expand their observation and problem-solving skills and learn about Spanish language and culture, all while mapping out a major adventure. It's, it's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids swim with the Bubble Guppies, they dive into a curriculum of literacy, math, science, and the arts, and gain skills that will get them ready for school. It's time to play with Nick Jr. On every night in Math Mission with Steve Ooey Dooey, kids gain early math skills like counting, sorting, measuring, and shape identification. They also learn there's power in numbers. It's time to play with Nick Jr. Rocking with the Fresh Beat Band encourages kids to make music and express themselves through dance and movement, all while jamming to the freshest beats. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids defend Glen Dragon with Mike and I, they're developing social and emotional skills, including cooperation, trying their best, and doing the right thing. Huzzah! It's time to play with Nick Jr. On every Diego rescue mission, kids learn about tools and technology for scientific studies, keen observation skills, and get up close and personal with animals of all kinds. It's time to play with Nick Jr. While they're palling around with Franklin and friends, kids learn social skills while gaining the confidence to come out of their shell. It's time to play with Nick Jr. While hopping around with Max and Ruby, kids learn to recognize and handle their own feelings and those of the people around them, even their little brothers. It's time to play with Nick Jr. While they're laughing along with Bugsy, kids are discovering the importance of kindness, cooperation, social interaction, and love-casting friendship. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids play with Kai Lan, they're encouraged to recognize and cope with their feelings and explore Chinese culture and language, all while enjoying the benefits of close friendship and the occasional gunplay. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids explore with Dinah and Dan, they discover the world of dinosaurs through scientific observation and technology, while having adventures of prehistoric proportions. It's time to play with Nick Jr. Every adventure with the Backyardigans introduces kids to the richness of the world's music and dance traditions, while helping them master some major moves. It's time to play with Nick Jr. While they're saving the day with the Wonder Pets, kids are developing early reading skills, building musical awareness, and of course, learning the power of teamwork. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids play with Olivia, they get to spend time thinking creatively, using their problem-solving skills, and dreaming up an awesome adventure. It's time to play with Nick Jr. Getting down with the Gabba Gang introduces kids to important social skills and body awareness, plus funky dance moves.
It's time to play with Nick Jr. When your kids play Doris the Explorer Girls, kids learn problem solving, Spanish language and culture, and learn to be a helpful in my community. Ton of symptoms. Go to nickjr.com/Dora Explorer Girls.
It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids groove with Jack and friends, they expand their awareness of musical instruments and styles and rock out to a music appreciation curriculum. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids venture out with Little Bear and friends, they discover the power of cooperation and communication and learn the bare essentials of friendship.
When your kids playing upside down showing, please learn problem solving and imagination, and reassert confidence.
It's time to play with Nick Jr.
Then I realized it
Kids
wasn't
help
enough.
adventures culture. They learn problem solving, key social skills, and the importance of perseverance. They might even develop a love of carrots. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When kids play in Lala Loopsy Land, they discover the importance of building friendships and working together to solve problems. They also learn to appreciate diversity in the world around them. It's time to play with Nick Jr. When your kids spend time with Tommy and Tallulah, they're learning